In this video, we are going to talk about virtual machine provisioning and virtual machine manageability. So, how do we provision, how do we set up a new virtual machine? That we will see, and then after we set up, what all managerial activities or how do we monitor, take care of the virtual machine, all those principles we will be studying in the virtual machine manageability. So, let us understand what is provisioning. Before we go and understand what is provisioning, we should know what is the general life cycle of a virtual machine, right? From where does the requirement comes and how does it happens. So, if you see this cycle here, it begins from this place. This is the step number 1, right? So, the cycle starts by a request delivered to the IT department. We tell to the IT department, those who are maintaining those hardware and the physical infrastructure, we state our requirement for creating a new server for a particular service. Maybe I want to create a service for testing. I want to create a test environment in my physical, in a server, right? So, the IT request is given, right? So, infrastructure requirement analysis is done based on the IT request. So, when we give a request to the IT team, they will do our requirement analysis. They will do, okay, let's say I am requiring for some 64 GB RAM and I need this many CPU cycles, that and all they do analysis there in the first step. After that, the request is being processed by the IT administration, it is processed by the IT administration to start seeing the server's resource pool, right? Available resource pool means available resources they will see. Then by how do they see? Matching these resources with the requirements we gave, and then they start the provision of the needed virtual machine. So, based on our requirements, they will try to look for a free server or see the pool of servers available, and whichever is matching with our requirement, they start provisioning it. So, then in the second step, they do the provision. VM provision happens here. What do? They load the guest operating system, all the softwares applications required, all the applications required are loaded into that, right? And then the customize and configure the virtual machine and then start the server. Okay, so they will do the configuration and they will start the server. Once this is done, it will be in action. The virtual machine can be used. Okay, virtual machine can be, it's in operation. So, it starts serving the web request, migrating services, all those computation tasks, whatever has to be done, that will be taken care in the virtual machine. That is the third step, virtual machine in operation. Okay, then once it is provisioned and started, it is ready to provide the required services according to the service level agreement. So, it is ready for being used. That is what is done in the step number 3. And then after a time period, the virtual is released. Means we are releasing the virtual machines. So, for what request I gave, I completed my job, and now I am saying I am done with my task, please release the virtual machine. When releasing, what will happen? The resources which were used by this will be again sent back to the original pool of servers, right? So, end of the service, and compute resources are deallocated to other virtual machines. If somebody else is requesting for a virtual machine, it is given to them. Right. So, that is the virtual machine life cycle. It happens in 4 phases, right. So, IT service request, then VM provisioning, VMs in operation, and release the virtual machines. This is a generic life cycle. Now, we will go and understand what is this provisioning process. Okay. So, VM provisioning is a process of creating, configuring, and deploying a virtual machine. You have to create it and then do the configuration, all the required setup, OS installation, software installation, all that you have to do, and then you have to deploy that virtual machine so that it is ready to use, right. So, how do we provision that? So, same thing as we discussed in life cycle, we have 4 steps. First, you need to select a server from a pool of available servers. We have to select one server, right, along with the appropriate OS template that you need to provision. Whichever OS you want to install, that particular suitable server you have to choose. Then, secondly, you load the appropriate software, right, the middleware, the drivers, the needed applications, everything you will be loading into the particular server. Then, after third step, you need to customize and configure the machine. We have to customize it. with respect to IP address, that gateway, from which network the request will come, do we have to allow the request from public other networks, all that setup we have to do, right? That's what to configure an associated network and storage resources. Okay, those things we have to take care. Finally, the server is ready to start with its newly loaded software, right? The server is readily available with the newly loaded software, right? So this is the 4 steps to provision it. See, you can see a simple diagram here. Server's pool is available, and appliances software means the applications, all the softwares which you want to install. Okay, so load the operating system and the appliances, the applications, then customize and configure. Okay, you make the setup of that, then install the patches. Sometimes you need to install some patches, because if you are installing Linux operating system, you need to install some packages and modules in that. That will be done, and then you start the server. After this comes the running provisioned VM. A newly available virtual machine is readily available, right? So this process of creating server, right, VM provisioning or server provisioning, it means it is defining a server's configuration based on organization's requirement, okay, hardware and software component, everything. It is VM provisioning means it is defining server's configuration. Okay, normally virtual machines can be provisioned by manually installing an operating system by using a pre-configured VM template. There will be some VM templates available, which hypervisor will help us to do that, or we can easily clone existing virtual machine, or by importing a physical server or a virtual server from another hosting platform. So many ways are there to install or to provision a virtual machine. Either you can follow a pre-configured template, or you can clone an existing virtual machine, or you can import a physical server or a virtual server from another hosting platform, right? So this is about virtual machine provisioning process, right? So next is virtual machine manageability. There is one problem called as VM sprawl. What is this problem? VM sprawl. Let's say there is a physical infrastructure is there of high configuration, and continuously the developer or the users of this server have created lots of virtual machines. Rapidly or uncontrollably, they have created a virtual machine for every request without thinking of anything. Simply, if you keep creating, let's say the hard disk space was 10 TB only, and you have created some 20 virtual machines, each of 1 TB, which is not possible, but you have simply created it, right? So VM sprawl refers to an excessive and uncontrolled expansion of virtual machines within a virtual infrastructure, right? It occurs when VMs are created rapidly, often for testing or temporary projects. Okay, often for testing and temporary projects, but not decommissioned after the use. They are not decommissioned. They mean they are not dismantled after the use, which leads to wasted resources. Increased cost, and security vulnerability issues will come. Because you are creating it, you are not taking care of it, then somebody can attack or breach that virtual machine, get some attack into the virtual machine, and that he can do a lot of other things. So VM sprawl is a problem. It refers to an excessive and uncontrollable expansion of virtual machines. For that reason only, we should have a particular process or governance should be there. Where we can try to manage those virtual machines properly. So what is VM manageability? It refers to the ability to monitor and control, maintain and optimize virtual machines. It is the ability to monitor, control, maintain and optimize the virtual machines during their life cycle. Okay, so it enables centralized administration of VMs and underlying hardware to maximize resource utilization, ensures high availability and streamline operations. So there should be proper mechanism to see how many virtual machines are being created. Unnecessarily, are we allocating some memory? Somebody is requesting for 10 GB, let's say, space. You are giving them 50 GB. So these kind of things will be monitored and managed, making sure that they are at an optimized level and effectively utilized. Because if I effectively work on the what we say the VM, right, I can improve the scalability, reduce downtime, and simplify life cycle management. Okay, so there should be a proper mechanism for managing the virtual machines. That's what I want to say here. There are some key aspects or key tasks of virtual machine manageability, right? The first one is life cycle management. Okay, so in this it involves creating, configuring, and maintenance and decommissioning of virtual machines. So virtual machine manageability has one job, that is life cycle management. They have to take care of the creation, configuration, maintenance, and decommissioning, means dismantling it once the task is over. The second task is resource allocation and optimization. Right? So balancing CPU, memory, and storage across virtual machines to maximize efficiency. You should effectively assign the memories for the virtual machines. Right? Techniques in optimization include memory ballooning and storage overcommitment. What is this memory ballooning? Memory ballooning means, let's say if there are 10 virtual machines are there, you are having 10 TB space. Okay, and somebody is asking you 20 or 2 TB. Let's say each virtual machine is asking you 2 TB. Okay, then you will assign that for each virtual machine, you will give to 2 TB. Totally, because really they will not be using 2 TB full, but they are requesting maximum up to 2 TB. Some might use 1 TB only, some might use 500 GB only, some might use 100 GB only. So there is nothing wrong in assigning 2 TB for each one, right? So this is memory ballooning concept, right? So this is very interesting because we need to give that way so that the problem does not appears. Okay, and another one is the storage overcommitment, right? So in memory ballooning, it's a technique where the hypervisor reclaims unused memory. Okay, in memory ballooning, just I said it reverse. In memory ballooning, what happens is that hypervisor will go to each virtual machine and see the freely available space, and it will take it back. Whereas that's what. And storage overcommitment is though they request 2 TB, though we have only 10 TB space and each one is requiring 2 TB, we will give to them, because we are collecting the freely available memory from others and giving to the one who needs it, right? So memory ballooning is one technique where the hypervisor reclaims the unused memory from the virtual machine and gives it to the other virtual machine who are in need. Okay, whereas this storage overcommitment means allocating more virtual space to virtual machine than physically available. Give them more when they are requesting than what is available with us, right? So memory ballooning and storage overcommitment. These are the principles or the key tasks of VM management or VM governance. The third one is monitoring and performance. Right, so using dashboards and analytics to monitor the VM health, security, performance metrics, everything. So since you have created 10 virtual machines, you have to monitor them, see how they are working, which one is in ideal state, which one is used, which one there is a failure, all that you have to track. That also comes under VM manageability. Then automation and provisioning, right? So rapid deployment of new virtual machines, using templates and automating or orchestrating tasks like live migration for maintenance, right? So automatically when there is a problem in one virtual machine, you have to clone that and deploy it once again, or create a new virtual machine using the template. Fastly you have to do that. And the last one is security and compliance. So we have to make sure that there is complete isolation between the virtual machines. One virtual machine should not know the other virtual machine. That way you have to make sure that, right? So that is possible if the hypervisor is secure, right? Because hypervisor is acting as a management layer between the host and the guest, right? So that these are the different tasks or the aspects which VM manageability takes care of. right? Life cycle management, resource allocation and optimization, monitoring and performance, automation and provisioning, security and compliance. Okay, so this is about VM provisioning and manageability. Thank you.